Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with my lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem HaKakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and in sincerity. And the topic of the lesson I want to get into, is, our people being offended of the word. Our people being offended of the word. Because, some of the main reasons why our people are not choosing to, listen to the word is because they're offended. They're offended by, the things that they may be doing in the world, that they're required to let go of to be able to be a part of the ministry. That's one thing. And the other thing is they're offended at what the word actually says. The payback, the slavery, that the Lord only loves, a particular nation, and, these type of things. And these are the things that stop them from wanting to, seek the Lord and, in its, in the entirety of the scriptures for what the scriptures really is. They're ashamed of what other people may think of them because of what the Bible says, and, they're afraid, basically of their social status, whatever they've created in this world, of what people may look at them and how they look at them, may think about them if they teach the truth, or if they speak up about the truth. But, with experience, you understand that, when you're in the world, you got to put on your Clark Kent. You got to put on, your, your regular civilian attire and, speak to people accordingly. Just be cordial with them, man. Speak, with some manners and so forth and so on, and just deal with them, however you need to. You don't need to be, going into the workplace and, or going to every single individual that you see and speaking the truth. So, you learn that in the truth that it's not always, wise to open your mouth, about the truth. You separate your real life, which is, your job and other things, even dealing with some of your family members, unless they really, really, have a zeal to want to know. And through the Spirit, you'll know who to deal with and who not to deal with, rather than just, randomly spewing out anything in hopes that they may catch it. So, that's one thing that, we learn in the beginning, that to separate, the times that we're outside, of going to camp, man. Now, whenever we at camp and on the highways and the byways, and, you got that garment on, you're supposed to stay 10 toes down for the scriptures. You're not supposed to fold up and, be soft and, cater to people's feelings about, what they may think of you. You just got to give it to them, clean and uncut, But use wisdom and discretion at the same time. But don't water it down, okay? Don't tell any lies about it, basically. But a lot of Jake do that. You know. So, but nevertheless, that's the point of the lesson, is that our people, okay, when they hear the fullness of the truth, not only the sweet, which usually pulls them in, but the bitter, you know. So, that's what the truth is about, man. All right, the truth is about not being, afraid to preach the truth and not be offended of it. So, I'm gonna get some scriptures, and Lord willing, this video will be edifying. All right, this is Matthew's chapter 15, verse 57, and it says, "And they were offended in him, but Yahushua said unto them, A prophet is not without honor, save in his own country and in his own house." So, again, some of the first people that we go to, all right, as far as, trying to teach the truth, are to our family members, our cousins, all right, even some of our friends that we grew up with. And usually those are the first ones to reject you and reject the idea of whatever you try to bring to them, all right, scriptural-wise, So it's without honor, they look at you without, any consideration, like, oh, this is just a phase of his, he really doesn't know anything. How can the Lord possibly be dealing with him, I've known this kid all my life, and they did the same thing, with the Yahushua, looked at him as if he was nothing, man. But the Lord, he deals with who he wants to deal with, all right? He deals with whoever he wants to deal with. He can rise up, the lowly, all right? And the scriptures say there's nothing for the Lord to, make a rich man poor. So what more, being able to make, a man rich in, the spiritual things, or the spiritual aspect of knowing, the parables and deep sayings of the Bible. All right, the Lord has that same ability to do so. All right, so let's go here. All right, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 3. That no man should be moved by these afflictions, for yourselves know that we are appointed thereunto. All right, so we're appointed to these afflictions. We're appointed to these trials. And a part of those trials are, being able to sacrifice, all right, putting away the people that we once grew up with and loved, all right? You can still love those people and still deal with those people, but, at the same time, you make a separation between, all right, them and the truth, man. You deal with them from a distance, all right, because you know that they're not going to understand, all right? So let's read that again, all right? This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 3, that no man should be moved by these afflictions. The affliction is, your people coming up against you, all right, as well as all the other things that come with having to bear your cross. All right, for yourselves know that we are appointed thereunto. So we are appointed to these things, all right, for the Lord to be able to test our faith and our belief, within the truth. All right, you're going to go through these things. All right, we're all going to go through these things. We all going to go through these things, all right? So, that's just a part of the battle. And you just have to accept it for what it is, all right? It says, for verily, when we were with you, we told you before that we should suffer tribulation, even as it came to pass, and for this cause, when I could no longer bear, I sent to know your faith, lest by any means the tempter have tempted you, and our labor be in vain. You know, so basically, know that you're gonna go through these trials and tribulations. All right, count the cost. All right, of being able to be in the truth, because you don't want to just fall out. All right, you got to understand that all these things are going to happen to us, man. All right, so don't be ashamed, and just completely give up on the Lord because you care about what other people think about you. I rather, and I'm pretty sure you would rather, stand with the Lord, all right, than stand with the world and be judged. I'd rather stand with the Lord and be judged by the world than stand with the world and be judged by the Lord. And I'm pretty sure you would want the same for yourself. You want to stand on the side of the Lord, man, and be protected, all right, from these things, man. Stand up boldly, gird up thy loins like a man, all right, and do what you got to do as a man, all right, to the best of their ability for whatever faith the Lord has given you within your portion, all right. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 21. It says, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. So, in these last days, the same ones that you may have told about the truth, oh yeah, you an Israelite, this, that, and the third, it may be coming a time to where, as they call it, the prophets of doom, all right, the Israelites, all right, are going to be wanted. All right, and what? They're going to try to cause those prophets that once tried to get them saved and protected by the Lord to be, offered up, all right, before these different judges and different things to, basically be put to death, man. All right, just as in the days of old. All right, because we're in the times where history is going to repeat itself, but it's going to be worse than any time that has ever been. All right, a kingdom, all right, in the world, all right, so it's going to be far more worse, all right, in the time of Jacob's trouble, all right, far more worse than, 70 AD in the time of Rome, okay, far more worse than those times, all right. This is Shalakia, this is Matthew's chapter 10, verse 35. For I am come to send a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against his mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be of his own household. So the Lord has come to separate, all right, put a division amongst the households, man. All right. So it's not to be surprised, it's not to be a surprise or to not throw you off that, all right, the outlook of these people on you is going to change. It's set in stone as prophecy for it to be that way. So you shouldn't be deterred or afraid of it happening. It's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to happen this way. It's supposed to be this way. All right? That's a part of the sacrifice. All right? Present your body as a living sacrifice to the Lord. All right? The Lord says he's going to reward us 10 times more, man. So if you lose your family, and those who so-called your friends or whatever not, the Lord's going to reward you for all those things that you went through to prove your love to him. All right? You just got to hold on and believe and have faith. That's what it's about. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The things that are not seen are greater than the things that are seen. We have to remember those things and remember those words to keep us strengthened in these times. All right? Otherwise, we'll fall, all right, for, the spirit of this world, because that's how the world operates. All right? We operate off of faith, So, ask the Lord for that strength. We need to ask the Lord for that strength continuously, all right, in these times, all right, to overcome those things, to overcome those demons in the mind plaguing you, because ultimately that's a demon, This is Matthew chapter 19, verses 29. And every one that forsaketh house and brethren or sister or father or mother or wife or children or land for my sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So whatever we lose here on this side, hey, so be it, man. All right? Just let it be what it is. All right, because this world is temporary, and we already see it on the decline. All right, we don't have, in my spiritual feelings as a man, just judging by the times, as it says in 2 Ezra chapter 9, measure the times diligently. I believe that we are in those times, man. All right, so speaking as a man, I don't believe we have 10 or 20 more years here. All right. We're on the decline to a social collapse and all hell breaking out, as the scriptures say. All right? So what if you, lose your, as it says here, all right, I'm going to read it again, Matthew chapter 19, verse 29. And everyone that forsaketh house and brethren or sister or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. So what if it be that we lose all these things, man? All right? If all hell breaks loose, you're going to lose those people anyway. Because people's true intentions and feelings are really going to come out, because it's going to be a dog-eat-dog world. So you're going to lose those people anyway. So why not lose them now, all right, and save yourself the headache, all right, and being able to recover from that, rather than it happening all of a sudden and you think it's a surprise. You think it to be a surprise when in the scriptures it's supposed to. So that's what we ought to do, and have that strong mindset. All right, as the scriptures say, put off the weak nature. All right. Let's go on here, okay, to Matthew chapter 13, verse 21. All right, and it says, yet have he not rooted in himself, but dirt for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by is he offended. So, you have to root yourself with, we as a people, Shalakia, we have to root ourselves in the word. So that way when these persecutions and tribulations come, all right, that we don't fall by the wayside by these things. All right, that we don't get offended, all right, and want to put the truth aside. All right, we have to stand firmly. Okay, we have to stand firmly on it, man. Okay, because I'm not out of this yet. Okay, none of us are. So, we have to again root ourselves, and we root ourselves by reading these scriptures continually and building up our faith and getting greater understanding. All right, this is Luke chapter 9, verse 26. For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words Of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and of the holy angels. So the Lord's going to be, ashamed, all right, of those people and going to cast them away. He's going to say, as the scriptures say, you have not known me, all right? You have not known me at all, man, all right? Because the Lord is a very, austere man, all right? And he requires us to preach, all right, the 100% truth, regardless of people's feelings. As the scriptures say, all right, rise, Shalakia. Let me get that real quick, all right? This is Isaiah 48:1. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. So it's saying, cry aloud and spare not their feelings. All right? Don't care, don't have the truth doesn't care, okay, about our opinions and what we believe. As the scriptures say, all right, some are fooled or are fools because, all right, of their opinions, because we inherit lies, all right? So when you come into the truth, we have to be as newborn babes and, basically, make our mind anew again, all right? And being humble, all right, and understanding that, all right, the Lord is not going to fail us, man, and that his word is true. He's going to stand behind us in those days when everybody else is against us, all right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, and it says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death. So the Lord has set before us life and death, just like in that movie, The Matrix. You got the red pill and you have the blue pill, all right? The Lord has presented us the red and blue pill in a sense to us, all right? The blue pill, you can choose to believe what the world has to tell you, all right, and just go back to your Joe Smo life, and just forget all about it. Forget that you even had this encounter. Or you can choose the red pill, all right, and choose to take the truth for what it is, the sweet and the bitter and everything that comes with it, and the sacrifices and the tribulations and all the things that you have to go through, all right, to obtain the kingdom, all right, the straight and the narrow gate, all right, and having being, all right, being called an outcast and shamed and all these other different things, and being called whatever it is, those bywords that they put on us, all right, understanding that the Lord is going to be with us throughout it all. Because we have the truth, and the Lord is going to be with us, man. All right, he's not going to deceive us. So this is the life and the death that he's given us the opportunity to choose between the two. All right? You can choose the straight gate, or you can choose to gather abroad. All right? And it says, blessing and cursing. It says, therefore choose life, which is the scriptures, the straight and narrow gate, that both thou and thy seed may live. So as the scriptures say, teach the word, that you may not only save yourself, but those that hear you as well. So that's the goal, all right, of us teaching, all right, to be defenders of the gospel, all right, and stand up boldly for the truth, no matter, all right, if the whole world comes up against us, man. All right, the Lord, the Lord said, matter of fact, let's get it real quick, and I'm going to end it out on that. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 27. It says, but Yahweh have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and Yahweh have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. So, the world look at the men of the Lord who stand out on those highways and byways as foolish. All right, everybody's counting us out. All right, everybody's coming up against us. All right, seems like every time that you turn, somebody always have something to say. All right, about the Hebrew Israelites, man. All right, there's nothing positive. So in the world where everybody's going to be against us, the Lord is going to be with us. And as the scriptures say, all right, they that be with us is more than they that be with them. All right, so we have the Lord and the angels on our side, and that is the only thing that really counts. So Lord willing, the Lord continues to protect us, all right, and continues to give us a mouth to where our adversaries cannot gainsay nor resist over us, and that we may endure into the end. So that's the lesson pretty much, and Lord willing, it's been edifying to y'all that have been listening. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and sincerity. Until the next time, Lord willing, I say Shalom.